You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
Hey everybody! 22 Jump Street is coming out in theaters this Friday, and you know what that means?
Johnny Depp is making a cameo in our podcast.
I wish. I really wish. I'm gonna cross my fingers and hold my breath for that one, you know?
Maybe he'll give us a call. We don't know.
Actually, it means another episode of Don't F With The Original.
With Nicholas, I'm the vegan correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I'm Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic. And for those of you who don't know, Don't F With The Original is whenever a sequel or a remake or a reboot comes out, we check out the original that started the franchise, review it, and then use that review to gauge our expectations for the latest movie. In this instance, we're going to review 21 Jump Street, the movie, not the TV series. We realize it's based on a TV series, but
it was very hard to find legally.
Yeah, exactly, is what it comes down. So we decided, you know what, let's keep things kosher and just review the movie instead.
Yeah. Did you like it?
I did not. I liked 3/4 of it, and then I didn't like it at the end.
Okay. See, mine was more interspersed. The parts I didn't like, were more spread out throughout the movie, but I think it's more of a dislike.
Alright, well,
So, the story?
Yep.
It's about two cops, Schmidt and Janko.
Played
by Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Schmidt is kind of kind of weak, not very physically apt, but he's very smart. And Janko is like the typical strong guy, but kind of dumb. So they go to the police academy. They have to become best friends to help each other out, and then they get assigned to park duty. And when they mess up, not reading Miranda rights to a suspect, they get transferred to undercover, going back to high school because they look young.
Yeah, and actually one of the funny conceits of it is it's a revival of the 21 Jump Street of the original TV show.
Okay.
Which is so it takes place in the same continuity, in other words, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. And so they have to bust a ring of drug dealers. They're making this artificial drug that's very dangerous. Actually, some kid died from using it.
Like it's a bad batch is
the
problem, and so it's going to kill a lot of kids.
Exactly.
It's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, and they had, and I think what I like about what they did, I'm going to start with the positive and then slowly degrade into why ultimately it no longer worked for me near the end. It is the conceit that the geek has become the new cool kid. So Channing Tatum, who was this big jock and sort of a bully as a kid, learns to value Jonah Hill for his intelligence, and they become sort of best buds. But it's sort of an uneven relationship because they're it's more codependent than really valuing each other, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah.
And when he goes back to high school, he figures I'm going to be awesome, and then he's not, and because being a dumb jock is no longer valued in the new school culture. The shift has happened. Being a complete dork like Jonah Hill is not quite working either, but it's a little bit closer to what is being valued, which is sort of like an apple-loving hipster, is what's cool at school now, in the movie at least. I like that conceit. I like the idea that like what's cool is sort of always changing, and that it emphasizes just what an empty value it is to be cool.
Yes, exactly. I really like that.
Yeah. And so the idea of them navigating through that made it very funny. The idea that like, hey, look, it doesn't matter how cool you were. If you're old, you're not cool. you know? And it's not because they're old. It's because they're just out of touch with the new culture.
Yeah, I did find it surprising, though, that, the really geek, like the technology people, they were still not cool. They're still kind of the geeks, which I thought was weird because they're still kind of climbing up the chain because the Channing Tatum character Janko, he goes with the uncool guys and their chemistry club. They should be much higher than being uncool. I would have seen them more hanging out with like the actual athletes.
I don't know if that's true or not of current high school reality.
Yeah,
is the thing.
exactly.
Like I'm out of touch with it. I kind of wish Eric was there because as a high school teacher he could have told us.
Yeah, good point.
But I'm willing to accept that it's just like, it's not a reverse world order, it's a different world order.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
You know, and it almost makes it more important, because if you just do the reverse world order thing, part of me is just going to go like, bullshit.
All right.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's no longer a challenge for both of them. Just one of them is just going to be stupidly rewarded. Whereas here, Jonah Hill still has to pretend to be someone he's not to move ahead.
Well, even Channing Tatum has to do, because he's joined the chemistry club. He knows absolutely nothing about that kind of crap.
Yeah, but he's hanging out with uncool kids.
That is true, though. But, to fit in with them, though, he still kind of has to pretend it's like, oh, yeah, let's go mix stuff and do explosions. Yeah, sure, woohoo, you know?
But the charming part about it is that he ends up doing something that he didn't do with his friendship with Jonah Hill's character, where he starts to value education. Like, he valued Jonah Hill because he provided the education without him having to do the work of getting educated. He hangs out with the tech geeks, and he goes like, oh shit, chemistry is kind of cool. I can do cool stuff with that. That's sort of liberating. And he starts to appreciate chemistry, and that's sort of, I thought that was really funny and charming too.
Yeah.
And also, it speaks volumes about this friendship that was sort of codependent instead of a healthy one, that all this time that he hung out with Jonah Hill, he never learned the value of actually what it is that Jonah Hill does, because he's just using the guy. It emphasizes that, you know?
That's true. He doesn't even, manage to remember the Miranda rights, which is, everybody can sort of, just blur out just by having watched TV for all these years, And yeah, he's just, whatever, it's not important. As long as you pass the test, that's all I need,
Yeah,
Although they seem to be working sort of well together, so they still sort of like each other. It's not like, I'm just using you. There's still kind of this bond there. Yeah,
well, it's a thing where they've learned to bond with each other and actually appreciate each other, but the core of their relationship is still this sort of mutual let's use each other thing.
Okay.
And they never got around to addressing that and fixing that. So they are friends, but they don't have the dynamic that's healthy to a friendship.
Okay.
And then throughout the course of the movie, they correct that,
All right.
One thing about the Miranda right, because you mentioned it like twice, the criminals are let free because they didn't read the Miranda rights. No, that's not how the Miranda right thing works. Whatever they ask them after would not be admissible in court, but the arrest is not annulled by not reading the Miranda rights. Like, that bugged me a lot. Like,
all right.
Like that, no, that's not how the law works at all. They caught him red-handed. Whatever question they asked him would be inadmissible in court, but seeing as they don't need it because they caught the guy red-handed, everything ought to be fine.
Good point.
Ice Cube was really funny. I liked Ice Cube as this sort of like randomly barking commissioner type dude who's just randomly barking for no good reason.
Because he has to embrace a stereotype. It's basically saying, they make this whole bit about, embrace, I'm black, so I'm going to be loud and angry, so embrace a stereotype. And I was like, are you basically telling me that the whole movie is just going to be filled with a bunch of stereotypical characters and it's okay because you mentioned it ahead of time?
But that's not what he do, though.
Yeah, it's true. But still, I was kind of like, he was very stereotypical, but I guess...
He was.
All right, they did kind of go out of the mold, though, so it's fine by that. I was very worried when I heard that speech. I was like, are you trying to be movies do that, and we're going to do it too? So, but no, they didn't do that, so I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, no, I think he made me laugh.
Yeah.
And you can't say that about every Ice Cube performance, that it works. Like, this one worked. I thought it was funny. Dave Franco as the head of the drug ring, who's sort of like this super douchey hipster, peace and love, environment loving, but like totally doing illegal stuff with little conscience character. Love that dude.
Okay.
I thought that was a great character. He's funny. Like the way that, he is a bully in a certain way. He does, use like rejection and power dynamics to get what he wants. But then as soon as a punch is actually thrown, which is like old school bullying, if you will, he's like, hey man, that's not cool. It's not how you resolve conflicts, man.
Yeah.
That made me laugh so hard.
I did love the first encounter with, the two main characters and him, where they punched the guy. Then they call him gay. He's like, you punched me because I'm gay? It's like, no. I punched you, then I learned you were gay. It's completely different. And it's like, that whole speech, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So, No, that one was great, and again, it's the changing attitudes and
Yeah.
just these guys are out of touch with the culture.
One thing I also did like, because it's a world I don't understand at all, is the whole texting thing. I haven't talked to anybody on the phone since, besides my grandma. I was like, oh my god, is this how it's happening these days? So I did like that part. It's kind of very informative on how, things work today, that we're dinosaurs now. So
Oh
it's all
yeah,
good.
I actually already feel it because I use the phone to talk a lot more than to text as well. And my cousin keeps texting me stuff on my landline, and I'm like, stop doing that because it's my landline, and then I don't understand what's going on there. Because then the machine just reads it to you,
Yeah.
but it doesn't know which language to use.
Oh
So
my God.
like sometimes I'll try to read French words in English or English words in French. It's just like it's always a mess. I can
Do
never
you
understand.
have
a thing.
some of those things saved? I want to listen to
No,
that.
no.
Oh, come on.
And the thing about it is, like, I told my cousin, like, stop doing that. You know what my cousin's answer to that was? Oh, Jesus, welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah. I mean, we were sort of the same way anyway, with emails when it first came, at the beginning of the internet there, we've got, we were talking every day at school, and then nonetheless we emailed each other at night. It's like, what the hell do we have to talk more at
I
night?
know.
We just did at school,
That's
so-
teenagehood. Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
it is. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see how it evolves, wondering what was going to be next after texting. It's all cool.
Yeah. I'm an old fogey about this, but I do feel that the phone was one layer separated from real interaction, person to person, right?
Yeah.
And texting is two layers because you don't even hear their voice or intonations at this
Yeah.
point. And I do feel like we're getting further and further apart from real interaction here.
Yes, which is what people want.
Yeah, all that stuff works. Even the more slapsticky stuff I thought was funny, such as their big car chase and where they keep expecting things to explode and they never do. Actually, that made me laugh so much.
I didn't actually thought that was just after the first one. I was like, okay, they're gonna do it again with something, and then I totally predicted it. I didn't know what actually was gonna explode. I was actually curious what is it going? Are they gonna hit that's gonna explode? And it was gonna be a big surprise. So that was a nice surprise, but it didn't really work for me.
Well, something's going to explode eventually. They're
Yeah.
setting it up. It's just like you keep waiting for it to happen. It's like, oh, no, that wasn't it. No, that wasn't it. Because they keep being passed by like random trucks of stupid stuff that would be funny if it exploded, and then it never does.
Okay.
And that's the part that made me laugh. Like,
All
where they
right.
just, the way they toy with your expectations. Go
Okay.
like, is that going to explode? Nope, not that one. Nope, that one. Nope, that made me laugh.
All right.
And then there's stuff that doesn't work, and which is the stoner comedy bits for me didn't work. When they take the drug and they go crazy and they do
Yeah.
crazy stuff, and then they get caught by the coach who doesn't really care. Like all of that was like, what is this?
Yeah, I hate stoner comedies. First of all, how hard is it to make yourself throw up? Seriously, it's not that hard. You just put your finger, and they weren't able to do it. They knew how to do it. They just weren't able to do it. It's like, come on, guys.
I've never done it myself, so I don't judge them. It's what it comes down.
I've done it.
Yeah.
Okay, you eat bad steak tartare. You want that thing out of your stomach when you start feeling very
my
bad.
God. Oh, that's yeah.
So yeah, I've done it. It's really not that hard.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
Tell you guys, you feel 100% better afterwards. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, speaking of uncomfortable.
Fine.
I was very uncomfortable with Jonah Hill's romantic
Oh
subplot
my
with the
God.
teenage girl. I thought that was completely inappropriate.
I had to go back and rewind the movie since how much time had passed, because I thought I had read 7 years later, and that's when you see them, and it's like, wait a second, he's trying to get a girl 7 years younger than him. I was like, that just seems wrong, so I had to rewind and check, and it really said 7 years later.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
flat out, he's older.
maybe I said maybe it's 3 years. That's how long it takes to go through police academy or something. Maybe it's just 3 years, but like, no, okay, 7. That just got icky there.
No, it's really, really gross.
Yeah.
And I think it's meant to be gross, but I don't know. I don't think that plotline worked at all because it's too uncomfortable for me to laugh. It's what
Okay.
it comes down to.
Yeah.
And also, it's a very, very delicate line in a comedy like this when your two protagonists are dumbasses. Because when your protagonists are dumbasses, they are, at their core, a bit unlikable. And you want to keep their sympathy. So you want to walk that line very, very delicately, never to have them cross the line into giving me an excuse for just not forgiving them for anything anymore.
Okay.
And having Jonah Hill do that when he's being a goofball, no, you're a child rapist. I'm done with you. You know, and I think that's a huge mistake when you're walking that line. Don't introduce things that could be potentially interpreted as statutory rape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or any kind of rape, really, just in general.
I was just pondering, is only statutory the only bad one? It's like, no, okay, there. But yeah, no, it was just so, and okay, maybe he's just playing along. He's gonna, he's acting like a teenager. Okay, ask her to prom. That's a normal thing. That's fine. Okay. But then at the end, when he reveals he's a cop and he knows the gig is over and they kiss nonetheless, you're like, no, that was just
no, and he's clearly falling in love with her. He clearly is early on in the movie, and it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's gross. Because what happens with this movie in particular is that it keeps escalating the dumbness, and then he reached a point where it's like, too dumb, I'm done.
Really?
Yeah. And so at one point near the end of the movie, there's a bad guy who loses his penis.
Yeah.
I was just like, why'd you do that? That's unpleasant and not funny, and it's like unpleasant. I don't mean like I relate to losing the penis and I'm traumatized by the idea of it. It's just like, I don't know, like I don't see how that's funny.
It wasn't funny, and then they pushed it a step further, and you're like, okay, now it's even worse.
Well, they kept harping on it. Is what it is.
Yeah, it works for South Park when you keep harping, and it might work sometimes. Sometimes it really doesn't. But in this case, like no, it just no.
Yeah, and it just got dumber and dumber. Like, the shootout at the end and all of that stuff, and the characters by that point have made so many awful, selfish decisions that I long stopped rooting for them.
Yeah, even when the guy takes, mild spoiler, when Janko takes a bullet for Schmidt, you guys are both wearing Kevlar. You do realize that, right?
Well, yeah, but Kevlar doesn't actually stop.
It hurts,
bullets.
but
No. This is a very, very big misconception about Kevlar. It does not stop most bullets. It does not. It's only like a standard 6-shooter or something like that. It'll stop. It won't stop the rest. That's
yeah, but that's what they were using though. They were using guns.
No, that looks like a bigger gun than that, and they're pretty close to one another too.
Okay.
So no.
But yeah, I never felt when their friendship came from, this whole, I'm using you, you're using me, but that's okay, we're tolerating each other, to all of a sudden, I'm taking a bullet for you, It's like, even when Schmidt was trying to get the girl to go to prom with him, and, Janko was watching and just laughing his ass off, and it's like, he's going to choke, ha 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 ha. It's like,
but he's gonna choke, ha 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 ha. He's an affectionate, he's gonna choke, ha ha ha. It's not a like, I'm gonna bully him later, ha ha ha.
I guess. Well, yeah. But still, I never, that moment where they kind of clicked together, it was like, I never actually saw that, especially since it seemed that Janko was, getting kind of annoyed that Schmidt was breaking that case almost by himself, you know. So, from there to the other is like, where did that transition happen? I completely missed that.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm okay with that, to be honest, but maybe it has more to do with my recognizing the formula and just going, yeah, they're going to do that. You know what I mean?
All right.
So, I'm not sure I want to give credit to the movie for my going along with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bigger problem for me, though, is that I hated both of them by that point, that I didn't care. Like, when they found each other, I was like, good, you deserve each other. Now both die, please. Because at no point during the movie do they ever care about the kids who might take that drug and die. At no point in the movie do they ever give a shit about what it is they're actually supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I guess.
And considering that we're talking about the result of their failure is the death of, a couple dozen kids at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to take that shit seriously at one point. I was like, I get to relive my high school years and do great. Like, I hate you. Your priorities are so fucked up.
Yeah, but they still have to maintain their cover, I'm guessing, but...
No, but their priorities was going to the prom, was going to the party, me reliving my success.
That's true, and you're right, when you think about it, it's like, I need to be Peter Pan in this play, or else she's never going to forgive me. It's like, get Peter Pan, you have this drug to go get, and it's like, now you can't play Peter Pan, it's ridiculous, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Although the Channing Tatum character I think he was still sort of focused on the thing. I'm not sure where his priorities were exactly. But he seemed sort of focused. Yeah, the Jonah Hill character, he was completely. He's like, hey, I get to go to prom this time. And I was like, no, you're right there.
Yeah, no, and I hate them so much by the end of the movie that there was no way this movie was going to work for me from that point.
Surprisingly, I kind of had a reverse where, at the beginning, because again, Dumb Jock, not my kind of favorite characters. I really hated the Channing Tatum character. Towards the end, I was kind of warming to him. He was kind of doing, his job. That's how I feel. But yeah,
He's closer to it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
he's definitely
exactly.
closer to it. Yeah.
Does he look like a teenager? No, but still.
No, but that's part of the joke. That's fine.
That was okay. Yeah. I did like the guy saying, "You look like you're 40." It's like, yeah, it's this. Also, just a quick thing. I don't know if any fan of the show, listening to this can tell us. I felt the cameo were kind of weak. Okay, the two main cast stars from the show 21 Jump Street apparently made a cameo.
Yeah.
Even
as themselves,
yeah. And I felt blah about it. I knew who they were. I knew, they were in the original show, and I just I don't know.
Yeah, but if you didn't watch the original show, any cameo of this kind is going to have a reaction. Any cameo.
That's not true, because I never watched Doctor Who, and when they had the cameo by the Fourth Doctor, and the Day of the Doctor, I was really excited, because I knew who he was, and he actually, his cameo actually added something to...
Yeah, but you knew who he is.
Yeah, but I knew who they were as well.
No, you knew that they were in the show. You don't actually know what their characters were.
Their characters were who the two main characters weren't they? No, really?
No.
Okay.
I think that's the difference. But I'm wondering how that cameo works, because if you're not a fan of the thing, you're like, okay, yeah, they were in the original. And then if you did watch it and you actually care, then you get to see them die in the most unceremonious way possible. Small spoiler alert, people.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that piss you off?
Yeah, better point, I guess. Well, it's closer to their story, I'm guessing, so it's a good... I don't know.
Alright.
Yeah, it was one of the weirdest cameos I've ever seen, though.
And I have to admit, as someone who doesn't care about the source material, I was almost probably more amused than I would have been, just because it was so weird.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on this?
If you don't mind, dumb characters, or if you don't think liking the character is that important to you, how they act and stuff like that, because that's kind of what, cooled us off to that movie, is like, eventually. But I know a lot of people that, they don't mind dumb or annoying or really, unperfect characters. If that's for you, you probably will enjoy this movie. But to me, yeah, some of the characters became so, I don't care about you anymore. So, yeah, towards the end, I didn't really care. Also, a lot of jokes fell flat, like I said, because I could predict them. So maybe if you can turn your brain down a little bit, you'll enjoy this.
It has a strong conceit at its core, which is the idea that high school culture has evolved to a point of being near unrecognizable. I think that's a strong, funny conceit.
Yeah.
But the whole Dumb and Dumber aspect of it, I find, drags the movie down.
Okay.
I find that they would have done better to stick to one of the two conceits and go with it than meld the two, because it feels like one is ruining the other, and it leaves me dissatisfied instead of feeling doubly joyed,
Okay, that's interesting.
So I can't recommend it ultimately, even though there's a lot of it I like, because I reached the end credits feeling frustrated.
All right. So I'm guessing you're looking forward to the sequel?
You know what? The trailer for the sequel made me laugh a lot. It starts with the commissioner talking to our two main characters, going when we lent you in 21 Jump Street, it was sort of like a shot in the dark. We didn't really think much of it, and we didn't think people would love it, but it ended up being a huge success, and people want some more of that program. And obviously, they're doing a double talk about the movie itself. And they're like, so we're launching you in that program again, but the Korean church repossessed the property, so you're going to be across the street at 22 Jump Street. It's and it's such a convoluted speech that I was like, that made me laugh a lot. It's just this sort of
yeah. It does explain how the title changes. Next one, they're going to have to move again. That's just crazy.
It's just, if you're going to be that blatant about it, there's a certain charm about that. That's kind of funny,
Good point.
And so the trailer made me laugh in the same way that a lot of the first movie made me laugh, to be honest. Okay. So I, I know that 21 Jump Street was a surprise hit and a big success, and I think from the trailer it looks like it's more of the same, and that's not necessarily a bad thing,
Okay.
you know?
I think they mentioned they were going to be in college.
Yeah.
I know how college is. I haven't been in grad school for very recently. I know what college dynamics is a little bit, so especially being a teacher. I've seen the students. I don't know what it used to be though in the past. So if they're trying to do the same formula, was it like the same as high school, like the football stars rule, and the smart guys are ostracized? I don't think that's
But they don't have to because the two characters never went to college.
okay.
And there are not that many movies about college culture the way there is about high school culture.
Okay.
So all they have to do is here's how college culture differs from high school culture.
Oh, that's interesting. Didn't think about that.
Yeah. And I think you can mine that for comedy. There's potential there.
Yeah.
We don't make fun of college enough because college is craziness to a certain degree. Like Canada treats it a little bit differently, but like the way in the United States it's treated, there's this great ritual that comes with like kids going away from college, which I think is really healthy. We don't do that where
Okay.
I'm from, and I wish we did. I think it's good for the parents, it's good for the kids, and encourages independence from one another. But the downside of it is that you have all these kids coming in, and they're all like, "We're gonna form our own society," but they're still stupid,
Yeah.
and it leads to really bad decision making. That level of freedom, all of a sudden, surrounded by other kids who are like, "You have freedom too." Like that's how you end up with those like hazing rituals that just go like completely crazy overboard, and those like binge drinking's death and all that shit. It's like it's a fascinating phenomenon where I can see the virtue in it. I really can. It's good for the parents to let go of their kids.
Yeah.
And you see it here where we don't have that ritual, and you have kids who are still sort of attached to that family life and have a harder time starting their career because of it, because they still feel like they have to please their parents. And that college ritual allows both the parent and the child to go like, "Oh, this is life without my kid. Oh, this is life without my parents." And then when they see each other,
How's it been?
how's it been? I miss you. There's this loving, but it's no longer the same relationship because I'm no longer attached to you in that same way. That's healthy. The part that's scary is, oh my god, the stupid decisions that are being made socially at that level. So I think that you can really mine that for really, really funny jokes.
Interesting. I was mentioning as well. It's very healthy. It's not healthy for the wallet here. I kind of like it here, where I don't have to pay for your dorm and for your food and everything. No, you're coming back home and eating every night. So
no, but I mean, there's got to be a way to reach a middle ground.
yeah, I agree. So yeah, that could be interesting. They never went to college, so no expectation. Maybe they're going to try and apply the values they learned in high school or in the previous high school and mixing them together. So yeah, I can see that working. It's interesting.
Yeah, because college is not the same thing. Because first of all, like the jocks and the nerds and all of that shit's gone in college. It's interesting how that just goes away in one fell swoop.
Yeah, because you don't have to hang out with them. It's huge. College is huge. So nerds hang out with nerds, jocks hang out with jocks, and they completely ignore each other.
Yeah, and I think also there's just like that 1 year of age difference and that liberation from high school to a certain degree makes them go like, I don't remember why I pounced on you.
That might have to do with prom, actually. Prom, big party, everybody's like, I picked on you, but, we're all cool. And, it kind of soothes everything there. I guess, that's big, powwow peacemaking.
Maybe, or maybe, as you said, it's such a large pool of people that there's no social advantage at pouncing on the little guy anymore. So, like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
And of course, assuming a little bit of maturity comes with age as well, and that might be part of it as well.
That's assuming a lot.
I think there's a lot of really interesting ideas that you could make fun of, and one thing that I find is that the filmmakers in the first one at least touched on a lot of the ideas that you could make fun of that other people have not in terms of high school. So I'm actually hopeful that they will be able to tap into the right things, at least partially.
Yeah.
For this one. So
Same writers?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. You still gonna watch it though? I mean,
I'm not, because I don't like the characters. So what I'm saying is, look, if you like the first one, I think there's a lot of good reasons to hope for a good second movie.
yeah, the first one wasn't funny enough. Honestly, I didn't laugh. I laughed, but not as much as other comedies I saw, like Dodgeball, which had me laughing all the time. This one had certain jokes that were just like falling so flat, and the fact that I don't like one of the main characters really is the reason why I'm probably not going to go see 22 Jump Street.
All right, next week we are talking about Think Like a Man, because Think Like a Man 2 is coming out.
Okay.
Until then, if you want to write us, share with us your love of the original series of 21 Jump Street, because I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
You can write us at mail@idiomatic.com or post a comment at idiomatic.com. We're also on Facebook, we're also on Twitter, we're also on iTunes. If you could write us an iTunes review, it would help us a lot. Get the support to generate content on a regular basis. Otherwise, I will have no choice but to send Nick back in high school and arrest him for statutory rape.
That's terrible.